Hey everybody, welcome back to the Taskforce annual meeting. I hope you guys had a great break. It's 1:15 and we're going to dive into our afternoon session. I wanted to acknowledge all the task force members and the executive coordinator team for our updates this morning. That concludes the annual meeting portion, or the task force membership annual meeting portion today. And so this afternoon, we're pivoting over to topics that we've been thinking about a lot over the last months, and wanted to bring them up to your attention. We heard from our survey last year that folks really like case studies. So we're featuring several case studies this afternoon. And we also are very painfully aware that climate change is on us and things are happening. So as an attempt to sort of start thinking about where the task force can engage and how our member agencies can be involved, we decided to have a session today talking about where we are in our planning and what's ahead. So that's exciting. That'll be our afternoon. We'll wrap up with the Legacy Award announcements and a presentation on our winners for this year. And I look forward to that. I think you'll be excited to see who the winners were if you don't know already. I'll invite Hillary to share a few words if you wanted to before we get started.
Great. Thank you so much, Sarah. So we didn't have time to do this before lunch, but we're going to do it now. So you heard me welcome our new executive coordinator, Meg Harris, to the fray, but we also have to say a formal goodbye to our outgoing executive coordinator, Sarah Brace. So we're going to take a few minutes to do that right now. So Sarah's been serving in this position for 10 years, as many of you know. And I just want to say it's very bittersweet for me. Sarah and I have been friends for close to 20 years. I did the math. It's close to 20 years. We met while we were working together for a state agency in Washington. We started our business about 12 years ago. And seeing Sarah kind of grow and evolve in this role as executive coordinator has been one of the great joys of my over 20-year relationship with her. As many of you know, she brings to the job kind of a mixture of humility and grace and wit and incredible ability to learn a complex array of topics and keep them all sort of circulating in her head. I have no idea how she does it. And on top of it all, she has an amazing sense of humor and a deep and abiding commitment to relationships. And I think her relationships with so many of you on the call today will probably survive the end of her tenure as executive coordinator. I'm sure she hopes that they will. I know my relationship will with her, and I'm very excited about that. One of the things that we did, Sarah, that you don't know, and I'm going to share my screen real quick, is we put out a kudo board to everybody who is on today's call. And here, I'm just going to share a few snippets of it with you right now. And if anybody would like to add to the kudo board, when I'm done talking here, I'm going to put it in the chat and you can open the link and very easily write a little snippet about a fun memory about Sarah, throw in a humorous little anecdote or a picture. As you can see, the job has been equated to cat herding. Actually harder than cat herding, I can attest to that. She's a shining force. Aloha from Hawaii, thank yous, beautiful pictures of trees, lots of kind words about your incredible work over the years, your commitment, everything. So I'm just going to scroll down and show you what is here. And Sarah, you of course will get this when all is said and done. But as you can see, lots and lots of people weighing in with thank yous and appreciations for all of your hard work. So I'm going to stop sharing that right now. And when I'm done, I'll put it in the chat so people can open the link. But what I'd like to do is I'm going to invite a member of our executive team, as well as a member of our coordinating committee, to say a few words, and then we're all going to have a little toast to Sarah. So first, I'm going to start with Tom Cullen, our executive member from California. Tom, it's yours.
Hey, thanks, Hillary. And Hillary and I were trading some, chats about timing to do this, and knowing that I'm going to have a panel this afternoon and either put a whole bunch of people to sleep or make them drop off to go pursue other things, we thought it best that I jump in now. And I made a couple of notes, this morning, Sarah, just kind of reflecting back on our 9 years together, because we both kind of came to our roles about the same time. You came in, succeeding Gene Cameron, and I was the newbie to Osper in the task force. And boy, oh boy, what a ride it's been. And now it's hard to believe that I'm the so-called graybeard among the executives, with Dale retiring in August. And he and I corresponded this week. He was really hoping to be part of this, this session, and to offer some words as well. And some personal things popped up. But while you were at the helm of the task force, we did so much. I mean, think back to 2013 with those 5 big crude by rail accidents that were happening in the hemisphere, especially the one back in Quebec. And under your leadership and with Hillary's help, and we had that special session in Portland that we came together and really learned more about the issue. And from that, we at OSPR were able to springboard and in remarkable fashion get new legislation that expanded us beyond the coastal zone and to protect all of California's waters. And it wasn't just for what we perceived at the time as the really emerging crude by rail threat, but all those other things that were threatening California's waters, pipelines, and as I mentioned, tanker trucks and abandoned derelict vessels and so forth. And then we looked at non-floating oils and those characteristics and the transport of those. We talked about renewable fuels. You mentioned things that might have been exclusively, regional to Washington, like transboundary and Sailor Sea, but all of these things that made your relevance so important, your leadership. I'm so grateful for every 2 years you and Veda helping us plan and host the biennial harbor safety summits that brought together a whole bunch of people. As a matter of fact, I wish I had the slide here or a picture of us all standing on the Queen Mary, probably the biggest abandoned derelict vessel in California, by the way.
Yeah.
But very relevant couple days of really important dialogue. And as Steve Jancic mentioned, yesterday for us, the new area commander coming in, Admiral McAllister, and how every time we had a new 3-star admiral for Pacific area, you and I and others would come together and introduce the concept of the task force and what we do and how we can be relevant. Let me see. I had mentioning about the budget and and the work plan and well, speak to the budget. We've been so austere lately in all of our states, and the apologies that we had to always go and the cuts we had to make. But you were always able to find efficiencies and keep the task force moving forward with everything. There weren't cuts. I mean, you were able to continue to do all those things that we want to do. So I spoke too much. I'm going to really miss having our fellow New Englander conversations about the Red Sox and how excited we are, about them. And always it's, wait till next year. But I wish you all the best as you pursue your passion of getting back into field science, out into the hills. I know you'll always feel welcome and hope that you'll be a continuing participant in these in meetings, sitting back and heckling us, as opposed to being the recipient of those. And I wish Meg all the best and welcome her. She's got big shoes to fill this time. So thanks and God bless Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tom. Yes, I look forward to staying engaged, and I'll be sending in those tough questions that you also guys will be stumped by. I'm looking forward to my Q&A future there as an observer. No, thank you so much. Many, many kind words. I'm speechless. That was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Tom. And now we're going to pivot. And I know that we're on a schedule and we have a panel coming up and all that stuff, but it is very important to recognize the contributions of Sarah. So we're going to spend just a few more minutes and then we'll pivot. I'm going to invite Nee Irwin, who's our coordinating committee representative. She's with the Washington Department of Ecology. Nee.
Hey, Sarah. Hi, everyone. So I offered just along with Tom, as well as kind of some of one of our more senior members of the task force. So I've been with the task force for 15 years now. I had the privilege to work with Gene Cameron, and then I had the privilege of being on the hiring committee that actually hired Veda for this position 10 years ago. It was that day in, SeaTac. Didn't know that you could have meetings at SeaTac Airport, but they have great conference rooms that you can rent out, and that's what we did. Everybody flew in, all of the executive members flew in, and you came and presented, your package with Veda. And we were so happy to be able to select Veda for the job and to have you as the face of the court, of the committee at the task force. And, the coordinating committee were the sort of worker bees. So it's a bunch of us that are doing the work of implementing the work plan, working with our executives. And to say that it's herding cats is an understatement. You have done such an amazing job. It's not an easy one. We're all very busy. We all have other priorities, but bringing us together to help us stay organized and to keep us on task of implementing all of the grand work ideas that we have, shared vision for the task force. And you do it with grace and fun. And it was fun to do the meetings. We've always done the virtual meetings, but it was always a nice break to be able to get together too. And you always planned, those meetings together. So we had activities to get to know each other and to really, have fun doing this job too. When we transitioned to only virtual, I know that was hard, but you always had such great creative ways that you kept it engaging. She would make us go out and take a picture of what was in our yard just to share a moment of, normalcy with everybody online, having our videos on, even though some of us, didn't like that or couldn't do that, but it was a way to help us all stay engaged. And so from the coordinating committee members of past and present, thank you so much for everything that you've done. We wish you the best. We'll miss you. And we know that we'll hear from you again. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nee. And thanks to all the fabulous people at the task force. You have made this work enjoyable, fun, interesting, challenging, of course, but never a dull moment. And I'm so excited that we got to spend time together. And I'm excited for Meg to step in and pick up the reins and continue this great work going forward, because it was really a full-on team effort. Herding cats, of course, but you guys did so much of the heavy lifting of writing draft letters and reviewing documents. It's been such a great collaboration. So thank you all. Thank you so much. And thank you, Hillary, for surprising the heck out of me. Oh my gosh. Yay. Oh my gosh. Well, hey, thanks everyone. And, for the rest of the world, we're going to get back to our program. But thank you for those appreciations. And I'm touched beyond belief. But I want to keep us on track so you guys can all get back to your lives on time today. So